Our project this time is a headband. We'll make it in large wrapped stitches, like beaded wrapped stitches. So it takes a little bit of yarn because you wrap the yarn everywhere, but then it's also warm. And at the back we have some ribbing, so that ensures that it fits tightly. And here's the other one. We're going to make one like this here now. I'm Tuula and I love things to do with crochet. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you could do that now. And then let's get started with the tutorial. We start by chaining 19. Chain 19. Until you get 19. Here's 19, and now the first row is just single crochets, and that's single crochets using the American term. It's double crochets if you use British crochet terms. Not the first stitch, but the second, and a single crochet there. And a single crochet into each stitch on the chain. So just go to the other end of the chain using single crochets. Here, and then we are starting the first row of the bead stitches. First chain 2 and turn, and a double crochet into that same stitch where we started the very first one. A double crochet again in American terms, treble in British terms, 1 yarn over, then chain 1 and skip 1 and a double crochet into the next stitch. There, and now we will wrap round this stitch 3 times. First a yarn over, and then bring the hook in front of that double crochet into the space behind it and get a yarn over from there and bring it here. And make sure you don't tighten it, so you need those loops to be quite loose. Another yarn over, and a second time into that space there, get the yarn loosely and bring it here to the front. And one more time, yarn over into the space, get the yarn, and now we have 7 loops altogether on the hook. And then we take a yarn over and pull that through all of them at once. There. So we get a big stitch like that, like a bead or something. And then chain 1. And that's it basically. We'll do that again. We again skip 1 and then a double crochet into that next one. And we'll do just the same again. So a yarn over, get the yarn round there, another yarn over, round again, like that, and one more time. So now we have those 6 loops on the hook plus the one we already had. And then a yarn over and through those all. Then chain 1 and continue exactly the same. Skip 1, a double crochet, and then you wrap around that until you get to the end of the row. So here I am almost at the end of the row, and there's 8 of these beads in this row. And to finish off this row, we'll make 2 double crochets into the last stitch, but we crochet them together. So start 1 double crochet but finish here instead of doing the last yarn over, and start a second one into the same stitch. And now that we are at this stage, then a yarn over and through these. The reason for this is simply that we get a nice edge on this. Then chain 2 and turn, and a double crochet into that same stitch. That again to get a nice edge. And now we start making these wrapped stitches into the spaces in between the previous row. But this first one would be too close to the edge, so there just a double crochet into that there space. Then chain 1, a double crochet into that space in between the next big stitches. And from here we continue just as we did in the previous row. So you wrap round this stitch. There. Chain 1, a double crochet into that there next space, and again wrap. So like this until the end of the row. We see here that on every second row we will be having 8 of these wrapped beads, and every other row 7, because of the way the rows will alternate. After the 7th one we'll have 1 double crochet in here in the space, and then again we're finishing the row off with 2 double crochets crocheted together in the last stitch, just as at the end of the previous row. There. And we'll continue like this. The next row then will be like the first one, except that now we will make the double crochets into the spaces in between the wrapped stitches of the previous row, instead of where we here had to use the single crochets. So chain 2, turn a double crochet into the same stitch, chain 1, and now we'll have a double crochet here in the first gap space, and then start that wrapping round again. And here you'll continue that same way until the end of the row, and then alternate these 2 rows all the time. And on every second row you need to have that extra double crochet there, just so that it stays even. And now continue repeating these 2 rows until it's long enough to reach about 2/3 round your head, or whoever it is for. About 2/3 or a bit more, because then we'll do the ribbing for the rest of it. So here I have the main piece done now, and the exact length doesn't matter from the point of view of the whole project, because we will determine the exact length then when we do the ribbing. But mine now is 38 centimeters long, or almost 15 inches. So that's the length I have mine, and then we'll do the ribbing. So the ribbon continues straight on from these bubbles. We had 2 different kinds of rows, so I'm ending it on a row that has that extra double crochet there. I'm at the end of the last row of these wrapped stitches, and then starting single crochets. First chain 1 and turn. And now we need to have the right number of single crochets here so that it neither gets too narrow or too wide. So first of all, one to the start of the row and the next one, and one into the space before the bead. And then with these here wrapped beads, we need to alternate. We'll have one single crochet in every second one and two in every other. That's just to get the right number of stitches. So I'll make one single crochet into this here thing and then go straight into the space after it, there. But then with this here one, I'll have two single crochets there, just in the middle of it. And then always one in between those wrapped stitches. And now this one then, one single crochet and then go straight to the next one. And then this one has two. So continue like this until the end. And then when you come to near the end, one single crochet in here and then two more at the end. That's the first row of the single crochets done, and I have 23 stitches on the row, 23 stitches. And now as we start the ribbing, it's important that you will have the 23 on every row, so that by accident you don't skip or something, so that it doesn't stay straight. And to do the ribbing, chain one, turn, and what we do is a single crochet into every back loop of the previous row. So only the back loop, and that leaves the sort of a ridge from the front loop here. So that into every stitch until the end. Nearly at the end of this row, and you just go right till the end. And there again, chain one and turn and start right from the first stitch, back loop. So always a back loop, regardless of which way we are going. We're going back and forth, and always the back loop. And now I'm coming towards the end of this row, and at the end of each row, this one and all the ones to come, you need to make sure that you also make a single crochet into the very last stitch. It's sort of hidden there a bit. It gets that way when you turn. So make sure you use that as well. If you haven't done a lot of single crochet ribbing, it might be worth counting the stitches for the first few rows to make sure that you have enough. But from here now, you just continue the same until this piece is long enough to go around your head or somebody else's head. So just the same way, always starting at the first stitch and only crocheting into the back loop. Back and forth until the piece is long enough. When the band is long enough, finish it and leave a long tail of yarn to be able to sew it up. I'm making this for myself, which is a very average women's size, and this is 52 centimeters long or 20.5 inches long. So that's a measurement you can use if you are not measuring it on somebody. And then to finish it off, sew the two ends together with just small stitches along here. And with that, it's finished. It will keep you warm in the winter time.